When you're playing NBA 2K, do you ever wish you had the freedom to attack off the dribble like this? Or like this? Do you ever wish you could run freely in transition without all of those annoying bumping animations like this? Wouldn't it be awesome if you could hit contested jump shots just like NBA players do in real life? If you answered yes to any of those questions, I'm thinking that my NBA 2K23 slider set is going to be perfect for you. What is going on, guys? It's your boy ShadyMikeGaming, and welcome to the release of my final NBA 2K23 slider set. I know this has been long awaited, and I'm really happy to finally be able to deliver for you guys. So we're gonna get right into it, guys. If you do like the content, please do like the video, subscribe for more, and yeah, if you think this will be useful to anyone else that wants to get great gameplay, be sure to share this video with them as well. So what we're going to do is, guys, this video is going to be a comprehensive guide into how to get what is, in my opinion, the best possible gameplay out of NBA 2K23. I'm going to take the time in this video. We're going to do this old school, and I'm going to walk you through every single setting that you need to change to get the best possible gameplay. We're going to go through your base settings. We're going to go through your controller settings, in-game coaching settings, defensive pick and roll settings, camera settings, what roster to use, tendency edits, and some badge edits as well, that can get you some better gameplay. So the video will be, hopefully not too long, but I'll make sure there's timestamps at each of those spots. But I just want to say it is imperative that you watch the entire video, because if you miss or do one of these steps wrong, this game will not play right. It's just the reality of what we've had to do this year to get 2K playing good. The full slider set is listed out in the description, but yeah, just make sure you watch the video all the way through. That way everything else that you're going to need to do to get the game playing right. So we'll get right into it. We won't waste too much time, but I do want to talk about the three major things that I wanted to achieve with this slider set. And really, I'll say the three major differences of this slider set, maybe from some others that are out there. So first and foremost is the movement, the speed differential and movement in transition. The goal was to eliminate as much bumping as possible, and just guys getting tracked down on the fast break. It really annoyed me. That was something I've been trying to fix all year, and we finally done that. One thing we're carrying over from version 2 of the slider set is just the overall freedom in terms of shot creation and contested shot making. You can make a lot of more contested shots than default. You guys know by now my saying, the presence of a defender does not equate to good defense, so that's a big part of this set. And of course, guys, smart challenging AI. You guys, I've been clowned for it. Even you guys see me post games, I post a lot of losses, and that's because this set can be so difficult sometimes. The CPU and good teams will beat you. It will be very difficult to beat certain teams. You play the Bucks, you play the Warriors, you play the Lakers, they're going to be pretty tough to beat. You play the Suns, they're close to impossible to beat. So this is going to be a lot of fun, and I think you guys are really going to enjoy the set. Make sure you come back to the video after trying it. Let me know what you think. And yeah, I get a lot of questions like, hey, what platform is this for? Hey, we're on on PC, we're on PS5, we're on PS4, Xbox. We got something for everybody here, so no problems there. But without further ado, guys, let's go ahead and get into the settings. We're going to start with our main menu settings. I just want to walk you guys through this really quick. So I do play on 12-minute quarters. Technically, that's personal preference, but the set is built around 12-minute quarters, fatigue injury on. We do 55 game speed. That is pretty important. That's kind of personal preference, but I have noticed that moving it off of this value can mess some stuff up. So I don't like shot feedback on. That's personal preference. Now, one thing I did change personally is my action replays and after basket camera cuts. I took them off of often and put them on occasionally. They were just happening way too much. Everything else, really, if we're being honest, is personal preference. I don't even know about the audio. It's just something I picked. I maxed everything out just so that, you know, it kind of has that loud stadium vibe. So do keep that in mind. A lot of that is personal preference. I always turn my music off just for copyright purposes as we're going into as we're going on YouTube. So we're going to move over, and next we're going to take a look at our coaching settings, and we're going to look at this in game too. So we're going to take a look at our adaptive coaching engine. That has to be off. That is critical. I want to see everything else. I mean, subs or auto. A lot of this stuff is personal preference. I love to see all my play vision and things of that nature. Defensive play calling, I keep to manual. Late game foul calling, I also keep to manual. Team communication, I don't want to see all that. This one down here, though, is pretty important. Make sure it's on dynamic and make sure it's not on do not repeat. Some of this stuff is personal preference, but people always ask, so this is how I like to do it. Next, we're going to move over to our controller settings. Some of this is pretty important, but in terms of our shot timing and shot meter, if you do use shot timing, you're probably going to want to keep the meter on, because it will affect like your timing, if that makes sense. This slider set does work with real shooting percentage and shot timing. I have mostly been using shot timing just because I really like the animations that play with the game. After you take a jump shot. So I do like shots only, shot timing, very late, but we do have settings for real shooting percentage as well, because I know that's what the majority of my community uses. I don't like any of the bullcrap effects, so I keep perfect release and release sound effects off. I like the curved bar meter. It's really the only one I can see. Indicator is personal preference. Now, free throw timing is also personal preference, but I found that the CPU kind of be missing free throws, so I put it on user timing just to challenge myself, and every now and again I'll miss one, so that's why I did that. Everything else really is personal preference. All this stuff, this is just what I use and what I prefer. Defensive assist strength, I have that maxed out. It just helps a little bit. So I don't know, if that, I can't say for sure that really affects gameplay or on ball defense, but this is just what I like to have it set at. So what we're going to do next is we're actually going to head into the game, and we're going to take a look at some of the coaching settings. These coaching settings are going to have a critical impact on the game, and so I will show you guys really quickly how we go ahead and set those up. All right, so when you get into the game, the literal first thing you want to do, no matter what, is pause the game, go to choose sides. You have to switch teams to the CPU. What you're going to want to do when you switch teams is you want to go to game plan. You want to go to coaching sliders. For help defense, for every single team, every team you're playing, regardless, you're going to scroll down and change this to 40, and you're going to put run plays at 5. This is a non-negotiable. You have to do this before every single game that you play. I've had people ask, can't they just go into the roster and do it? My answer to that is maybe. I don't know. I don't know if it affects sim sliders or sim stats, or if it resets at any point in your franchises and stuff like that. So I personally, at the beginning of every game, I just pause the game and I do it in the game. So then you want to switch back to your settings. Coaching settings we already went over, but for some reason offensive play vision always changes. So I don't know. I just put it on all plays. I don't know that it actually makes a difference, but we already covered that. You want to go to your coaching sliders. You put your help defense on 40. And I put my run plays frequency at 100. That way it always prompts me to run a play. However, I'm the user, so I can run at whatever pace I want. So that's why I do that. Next, we're going to go to defensive settings, guys. And this is all I'll say personal preference, but these are the settings that give me the very best results with this set. Moderate. I don't force any direction. I like a hard hedge to step out on my shooters. For my on-ball screens, I use on-ball rotate. For stay attached, it's critical that that's on no. It has to be on no if you're using these settings. Off ball screens, I like to switch these. Sometimes I'll do go under, but I personally like to switch. It's really that is personal preference. You can switch or go under. I get a lot of people asking me why not go over. I don't know why, but it's just like the go unders don't always like register with the actual screen, so they're just more successful. I don't know why 2K is like that. It just is. For the posts, I don't do any type of thing here. For the double teams, I don't do anything for this, but say I am playing a team like that has someone like Giannis, what I'll do is I'll come down here, and where are we at? Double team, right? So sometimes for a player like Giannis, double team, I'll double team on a drive, and in the post, I'll double team on a catch or on a dribble, but that's only for Giannis. Like if they have a crazy player like Giannis or Embiid or Jokic or something like that. And even Jokic isn't a great one to double because he passes so well. So that's personal preference. You guys can do what you want with that. I like pre-rotate on. That's personal. Off ball, we covered that. Switch all. Now, what I like to do here is on screens, I do no help. On cutters, I do no help, but on drives, I do help and no rotation. For extended pressure, I don't extend pressure. However, say I'm playing someone like the Warriors, they have Steph Curry. We'll use Drew Holiday. Let's pretend he's Steph Curry. I like to come over here under extend pressure and hit yes. Just that way you pick him up full court, put some pressure on him. So what I like to do is, depending on whether I'm switching all or going under on all, for all of these off ball things, dribble handoff, switch, down screen, switch, flare screen, back screen, switch, all that stuff you can have on switch or go under. What I would recommend you do is I recommend you start with going under, because that's like one of the best ones. But if you start getting beat, it just depends on the team. Like, for example, Golden State, they run so many crazy actions. I really like the switch for them, but it's personal preference. It's going to depend on how athletic your bigs are, things of that nature. So, whether you want to go under or if you want to switch. But for all of the off-ball stuff, make sure it's either go under or switch, and then, decide for yourselves which one you do like the best. All right, guys, next up, we are going to take a look at the camera options that I use in game. So, guys, whenever you see one of my YouTube videos, 90% of the time it's this. It's nosebleeds 1-1. That is the main one that I do use. Another one that I do like side camera a lot as well. You'll see it every now and again with side 1-8. For this one, it's important. Just make sure you got the key zoom turned on. I don't know why, but it affects it some way. Skybox 10-1 is decent. It's not great. I think for me, it's just too zoomed out, but it's not bad and it's definitely playable. Another that I will use sometimes is Broadcast 110. This one's really decent. What I don't like about Broadcast 110 is, and most people wouldn't even notice this, but it does not have dynamic free throw angles. So whenever you go to shoot a free throw, it's always going to be on this angle. You don't get any of the cinematic dynamic broadcast style transitions going into your free throws. I don't like it. Now, my favorite camera is this one, Broadcast Zoom 1.7 height. You will rarely ever see me playing on this one, however, because it has a transition bug where basically if you get a steal, you cannot see your player because the camera like lags behind. I really like this camera because it allows you to see the corner, but it makes me motion sick the way the camera moves in transition when you get a steal. It's basically unplayable. So bottom line is Coreside 110 is decent. It's just too zoomed in for me. Can't see the corner enough. But if you ever wanted to get something closer up, bottom line is I'm almost always going to be running nosebleeds 1-1. It's just sometimes it's tough to see the corner, but it gives you kind of the best of both worlds, best of everything from the broadcast cameras. It looks good in half court. You can see the corner a lot of times, not all the times, but almost. And you always get those dynamic free throw cams as well, and it works right in transition. All right, guys, next up, we're going to talk about what roster to use with these sliders. Now, one thing that you do want to think about is these sliders are made to work with the ATD rosters. I do have them linked below. However, some people either don't want to use them or have a different roster that they want to use. That's perfectly okay. If you use the ATD rosters, you don't have to do a lot of these changes. However, if you don't use the ATD rosters, say you're on PC, there is no ATD roster for that. You are going to have to make some changes to your roster to get better gameplay, and we're going to cover that now. So hypothetically, say I'm going to use the default roster. Again, I don't recommend it. I recommend using one of the rosters included in the description. But if you are on a platform that does not have ATD rosters, you're going to need to make these changes. So on next gen, and this is really important, this is next gen only, you can globally edit your roster. You can globally press start, and you can edit every single player in the league at the same time. On old gen or current gen, whatever we're calling it, you cannot do this outside of my league. You cannot do it. You have to do it team by team. So you'll have to go Sixers, Bucks, Bulls, this, that, and the other. In my league, you can globally edit. That's perfectly fine. However, in quick play, or for just making a base roster, you can't. You have to go team by team. That's critical because it is time consuming. One of the reasons, I am on next gen. But really quickly, I just want to show you guys how to do it. In the description, I have listed specific tendencies and specific badges that you need to add to every single person in the league. So we're going to go over to badge view. You press quick edit. Now you're in our global. Oh, it changed on me. Sorry about that. So you go to badge view. I'm hitting triangle to change my view. You press X, or that's going to be A on Xbox. And now I can add a badge to every single player in the league. Or, well, not even just in the league, but like in the entire game. So when we go to our menu in the description, there's going to be 5 badges that you need to add to everyone. Agent 3 is one of them. So all I'm going to do here is flick up once on my right analog stick, and that added 1 badge level to every single player. That's Agent 3. The next one we're going to do is Limitless Range. You do it there. You do MIDI Magician, you do that one, and so on. The last 2 are Clamp Breaker and Interceptor. I'm not going to go through them all, but this is how you globally edit your roster to add those badges. Next up, there's also a list of tendencies that we need to change. So one of them, for example, is shot close. You'll see is -10. So what I like to do here is go to the highest person, is Michael Jordan. You see it's 100, and you're just going to scroll down 10 till it's at 90. And you'll notice now everyone is 10 less. The next one is going to be shot mid. We're going to go up by 10 on this. And so I like to go to the bottom just to see, go up 10, and there you go. And you're going to do that for each option that's in the description. I have all of the tendencies laid out that you do need to change. Guys, bottom line, you have to do it. That is key and pivotal to getting good gameplay. All right, guys, so in the last section, we're going to cover some very specific individual sliders that I want to talk about that can change whether or not you're using real shooting percentage or user timing. But before we do that, I want to touch on a very, very critical part of this slider set. It's kind of random, but I had to fit this in here somewhere. With this set, and it's not even with this set, it's with any slider set. If you're trying to play sim, if you're trying to play realistic, you have to play off-ball defense. do not user the man. There's a weird group of people on Twitter and on the internet who'll try and clown you and say like you're a scrub because you're playing off ball. What they don't understand is the reason we play off ball defense is because CPU controlled defenders trigger animations user defenders simply cannot trigger. That's the only reason we do it. It's not a skill issue. We don't do it because we're bad. You guys would not believe how good I am at this game. Trust me, I've got over almost 3,000 hours in it. Just take my word for it. Play off-ball defense. It is imperative. All right, now let's talk about a couple specific sliders that I want to touch on really quick. For the user, these 43 and 58 for mid-range and 3. These are the base settings for user timing. If you're playing real shooting percentage, what I was using was 45 and then 59 for real shooting percentage. Now with the 3 at 59, I simply felt like I was making too many threes. I was making too many threes. Doesn't mean you will make too many threes. I would start at 58. If you don't like 58, bump it to 59. I'll stay on 58. That's why I put it back. Mid-range, at 43, I definitely feel like I needed a boost. So I would probably start 44. If you don't like 44, go 45. When it was at 43, I literally missed like 10 mid-range jump shots with DeMar DeRozan, and I just wasn't happy with it. So you definitely need 44. You may need 45. Some rosters have changed the rebounding numbers. So I was getting some very weird test results with my offensive rebounding for the user. So this defensive rebounding slider for the CPU used to be at 15. I bumped it to 25. If you run into a scenario that you are just really struggling to offensive rebound, consider lowering this number just a little bit. One thing one of my members said is he plays player lock. And he, found the CPU to be struggling, and he raised the CPU offensive consistency to 90. He said it helped. I don't play player lock. I haven't tested it. I would probably test the slider set as is. And then if you think you're running into issues, you can try and mess around with it. But guys, that's about it in terms of the specifics. I just want to take this time at the end. Thank you so much for rocking with me, guys, this year. It's been an awesome year, guys. Keep it locked to the channel. We're not going anywhere. I appreciate the support, guys. It's your boy, Shady Mike. I'm signing out. Peace. Threes.